Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. Mark again here at Weatherman Plus. Now, we do have a few days of severe weather. No chances for tornadoes. It's going to be for chances for winds and a small chance for hail. Plus, what's going on for our tropical season. I'm going to update you on what's going on with this potential storm across the southeast. It has gone up to 40%. I expect this to keep going up, and I will show you why. It will be under certain conditions. And I'm still showing the Caribbean all the way through the Atlantic, and the MDR is still on shutdown all the way towards the middle of July at least, potentially towards the 20th of July. But I do have some new information for today on what's going on for the system across the southeast along the east coast as well. So make sure you subscribe and follow along for updates. Now you can see for today we still have Flossie over here. It's a Cat 2 hurricane. It's going on a weakening stage now. It's going towards drier air and cooler waters, plus what's happening over here for the southeast. And you can actually see we're starting to get some storms bubbling up over here in the northern Gulf. This is not associated with the front because the front didn't come through yet. When the front comes through, it's going to help spin this up a little bit more. And matter of fact, we have a little bit heavier rainfall impacts potentially over here towards the central western Florida, where this could start sparking up a low pressure. Not something super big like a tropical storm or a hurricane, but as this front comes down and starts amplifying this a little bit more, this is going to move a little bit further towards the southeast as well. And as these storms rotate around, there's a good chance you could get a tornado threat along central and western Florida. Then as this moves a little bit further from what it shows, it's going to move somewhere around the southeast and really start bubbling up. This is where it's going to be fighting this high pressure in the Atlantic. And the high pressure in the Atlantic is actually going to limit the time that this has to form. And then it's going to get squeezed inland. So once again, while it's over here getting rotating thunderstorms around, you could get a tornado threat along the Carolinas in the coming days as well. Now for yesterday, we did get one tornado report in Wyoming. We also had over 200 wind and wind damage reports. For today on your temperatures, you're going to be sitting at 100 towards 110 degree potential, still towards the southwest, going towards the higher elevations in California and bringing those 90s all the way into Canada across the central U.S. for today. Now, if you take a look, you will see that western Texas, eastern New Mexico, we have a little below average anomaly moving through where you're actually going to be in the 70s. While you still have some high 80s to low 90s moving all the way across the U.S. Now, with your heat index value, you're still going to feel like over 100 degrees for Texas going towards Louisiana. For tonight, you have some overnight lows in the high 50s going towards the low 60s. And you see that does carry across the Midwest towards Ohio Valley and the interior Northeast towards New England. Now for tomorrow, here comes the heat right back again. And you see you still have a pocket of over 100 degrees temperatures moving towards the southwest. But now you have those 90s moving across the central U.S. going into Canada. And you still have the 90s moving across the southeast towards the mid-Atlantic. And a little bit cooler towards the interior Northeast, but in the 80s to 90s along the coast. And you still see this pocket of below average temperatures moving through Texas. And once again, with your heat index value, you're still going to feel like over 100 degrees for Texas going to Louisiana, especially for Louisiana for tomorrow. And you can see feels like 90s, if not in the 90s, moving all the way across the U.S. Now, real quick, let's go through the severe weather. It's not super strong, so it'd be real easy. You can see for today, you have a chance for an isolated thunderstorm in any of this green section. You do have a slight risk that did amplify a little bit more for today. So far, there's no threats for tornadoes. I'm not showing that threat, everyone, but your chances will be for winds, and that is what the slight risk is for as well. So here's your cities and states at risk for possible damage and winds for today. And your hail threat for today as some isolated storms move across the Midwest as well. So here's your cities and states at risk for possible hail for today. Matter of fact, I'm showing as we go into this weekend, we could amplify our severe weather just a little bit more over here across the upper Midwest. But look at these winds that we do have from now all the way till early Friday morning. So you have 40 in the green, 50 in the orange, 60 in the red, even some isolated 70 moving in for the western Dakotas. And this is going to amplify a little bit more as we go a little bit further. I'm even showing the hail threat is going to be very little in the next couple of days. You can see this with HRRR. Just an isolated storm here and there. Maybe some larger hail going through North Dakota. But everyone else is showing a little bit of small isolated storms that could pop up and bring you a little bit of hail. Nothing super big. So as we go through the latest model data, you can see as you go through the afternoon for today, you actually get some storms that pops up not only for Florida because it's what you're dealing with down there. Also, what's going on for North Carolina, Virginia, maybe a little bit of the Delmarva, where you could get some thunderstorms early afternoon and then it pushes away. You can see a pocket of some severe storms that starts popping up from Montana, the Dakotas, going into Canada, and that will continue as you go through Friday, as well as we're starting to get more of a severe weather pattern way far northern in the U.S., where you can get some more damage and winds and maybe even isolated tornado threat moving through over here from Nebraska, maybe northern Kansas, as you go through for Friday evening as well. And that's going to propagate towards the east and start weakening down. So there's a little bit more stronger storms that's a little bit ahead for Friday, maybe going into Saturday. And this is not a tornado threat. You can see this here with National Weather Service. So for Thursday, for tomorrow, you can see isolated thunderstorms in any of this green area. No chances for tornadoes. This is going to be for chances for slight winds. So you have multiple areas with 5% where you can get some isolated thunderstorms that pass through. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for severe weather for wind for tomorrow. And maybe the storms that go out through the northeast through New England for tomorrow could bring a little hail threat as well. So here's your cities and states at risk for possible hail for tomorrow. Then as you go through for Friday, you could see an isolated thunderstorm anywhere in any of this green section, but you do have a 5% chance for more severe weather. I did show you those storm cells that move across. Those could bring damage and winds. We could even see a little 2% chance for tornadoes. But so far, here's your cities and states at risk for severe weather for Friday. Now you see we still have Flossie. It is going to move towards the west still, and we have this area of disturbance to watch out for. This will be potentially Gil. GFS is taking it strong. Euro is taking it weak. Either way, both of them is showing going west, northwest. No threat to anyone. On the Atlantic side, it has gone up to 40%. Now, this is within the next 7 days, not within the next 48 hours. I'm showing it's going to be about 4 days before it starts amplifying a little bit more towards the southeast of the U.S. Either way, you can see there is a tropical or subtropical depression that could form in the region over the weekend or early next week while the system moves just a little bit. Regardless of development, we still got the heavier rainfall to look for, especially over portions of the southeast U.S. and across the central, west central Florida coast. So I do not see that a tropical storm will be possible. Some of the ensembles is hinting at that, but it's not a strong possibility. Still, I'm going to show you everything I found. So temperatures, you can see we have a big above average anomaly over here in the northern and eastern Gulf. Also over here on the Atlantic side, really above average temperatures kicking in. So anything that this storm tries to do to get robust, the temperatures will be there to help produce more thunderstorms. You can see the warm temperatures in the Atlantic, also in the Gulf. And the latest from the Euro on chance for a tropical depression has gone back up. Matter of fact, it's going all the way towards a 60, even a 70% chance of just a tropical depression to form. But this is a lot different than just building right here. Let me show you. So you can see this right here with the Euro chance for a tropical depression. Just in the next 72 hours, you have a 55 to a 60% chance of a tropical depression to form. Now, as you go 4 to 5 days, that starts growing towards a 70% chance. But this is where it's getting squeezed by the high pressure. Remember, high pressures go clockwise, so it's going to bring everything around. And if the high pressure is really squeezing, it's going to squeeze it into this direction and go back out. So as we go past 5 days towards 6 days, you can see it starts coming on shore. It's getting squeezed by that high pressure, but it's not done. If you watch, it still goes right back out towards the northeast, and maybe in 9 to 10 days, when we get another frontal passage coming through, it might come back towards the northeast. So we do need to watch this transition. So you can see this pattern when you look at your precipitable water. So as we go today and tomorrow, start getting a lot of precipitation right there where you actually could get a very weak low pressure. And that's why it could bring more rainfall towards the central, west central of Florida as you get a lot of convection building. But as we go through the weekend for July 4th, still pushing further down Florida, and as you go through Saturday and Sunday, it starts transitioning towards the southeast why you get this high pressure. At the same time, you can see our severe weather is potentially going to kick back up as we go through Saturday, as all this precipitation goes towards the Midwest and upper Midwest, and we get a chance for stronger storms to come through as you go through for Saturday and maybe for Sunday a little bit further towards the north, where we could see an upgrade in some severe weather. While this moves right across the southeast, all that precipitation, then it goes on land because it tries to form up, getting squeezed by the high pressure, and it brings heavier rainfall, but this is where you can get that tornado threat as well, and then goes right out towards the northeast, and then it gets pushed away by that next trough on that next front. So when you go for comparison, you can see here what the Euro showing for late Thursday evening that you started getting a low pressure building. You can see this with GFS as well, showing that you started getting a weak low pressure where it starts amplifying your thunderstorms a little bit. Now, as you go through with the Euro and go through for Friday, you can see still you got that low pressure. You get the thunderstorms and convection on the southern and eastern side, and it just stays something very weak, but it transitions towards the Atlantic as you go from Friday into Saturday. Then it starts bubbling up some storms right there as well, but now it's leaving Florida on these thunderstorms. So as we take it one day at a time and go through GFS, as you go through for Friday into Saturday, it shows almost the same thing. It bubbles up right here along the South Carolina coast, bringing the thunderstorms on the eastern side. So as you continue with the Euro, you can see as it goes through for Saturday into Sunday, it runs out of time because of the high pressure steering everything right back inland, and then it goes right back on shore. But at the same time, as you go through for Saturday into Sunday, there's a chance to get some rotating thunderstorms that goes around and could bring that tornado threat towards the Carolinas, so you might see that coming by National Weather Service in a couple of days as that moves through and goes inland, and then you lose your thunderstorms and then maybe come right back out through the northeast as you go through for next week. Now I'm going to show you what the ensembles are saying, and I'm going to show you the more likely outcome with these ensembles because it's starting to show a little bit of strengthening because of the high pressure squeezing right against the coast. So here we are in 24 hours, a chance to get a low pressure building right there. That's why you could get those extra convection, more thunderstorms along the central and western Florida. Then as it goes towards the southeast, look how it tries to go out, but then the high pressure squeezes it back. So in 4 days, when it gets squeezed back by the high pressure, that's where it could start growing in intensity and strength before going right back towards the coast. That is the only time this has any chance to strengthen past a tropical depression. And then you can see it gets pulled out through the northeast right afterwards, and maybe some strengthening in the Atlantic after that. So as we take a look at the ensembles, here is the Euro. It has more ensembles. It has 51 members. In 4 days, when it hits the Atlantic side, where it shows it could get some strengthening, you can see this right here on here where it could get a storm building. You also see another one here, and you see a weaker one, but another one right here. At the same time, this is only 3. That's a very low chance of anything going past a tropical depression. The majority of these is showing just an upper level low, just maybe swinging some thunderstorms around, just a very weak in general atmosphere. Now, as you go through, you can see chances for some strengthening going right towards the Carolinas. You see that on those 3. If it does not, the high pressure is going to squeeze it, and it's just going to run out of time, and all of them show it just weakens down greatly. Then maybe coming back out the northeast later. Small chance of that as well. And you look at the other seconds. That's the first 25. You look at the next set of the other 25. In 4 days, you can see it right there. Maybe some strengthening going on right along the Carolinas. A lot more of them is showing it would be something very weak. More likely just an upper level low, a group of disorganized thunderstorms right along the coast. Even some of them take it a little further up the coast. And at the same time, as you move forward, you can see it gets that one chance to strengthen up and go towards the Carolinas, which right now it's literally a 5 or 10%. It's not a big chance for that. While the rest of them just show it just gets smushed by that high pressure and it loses any chance of formation after that. So it has a very small window to intensify, and that's right along the eastern coast of Florida by a little bit of Georgia and the Carolinas, bringing a chance for a tornado threat also if it starts rotating around and we get an MCV. Regardless, we're still looking at rainfall as your biggest threat. And it has come back a little bit, because if we do get that low pressure building right here off the coast of Florida, you will have more convection, more storms along the central and western Florida side. And you also can see with all these thunderstorms swinging around that high pressure, it is still bringing that rainfall towards western Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, going towards Utah, Nevada, bringing some more precipitation around with that as well. And if we get those storms intensifying for this weekend, it could bring heavier rainfall pocket towards the Midwest and upper Midwest. But just like I showed you yesterday, this rainfall amount is not trending, everyone. This is only depicting on whether we get that low pressure building and we get more convection, more storms. GFS and Euro is showing that is going to build more into the Atlantic. Still, you can see here on Weather Prediction Center, not only the 2 and 3 inches going across, which wouldn't be really bad. Still got this big pocket of 5 to 7, 5 to 8 inches of rainfall potentially towards the central western Florida side. And going up the coast of the Carolinas, maybe Virginia, maybe a little bit of Delmarva. Now, when you look with the European, same amount of time, 7 days, a lot less rainfall, a lot more into the Atlantic. When you look with GFS, same thing as the Euro, a lot less rainfall, a lot more into Atlantic. Only thing is GFS takes it right along the coast of the Carolinas, a little bit closer, a little bit more organized, where it could strengthen up a little bit, bring y'all that tornado threat and maybe more rainfall. Now this is the 6Z. The one before this did show it a little bit different, and you can see how it moved further away. Still showing after we go through this area of favorable environment of convection that we still have all this sinking air that's propagating, and it's still going to hang around all the way to the 20th of July. This is for the Gulf. After this is for the Caribbean. Now afterwards, everything kind of shows it starts opening back up for late July going through August, then maybe another low break with another convection period coming through for middle of August. Now this right here is a little bit concerning, because all this favorable environment is right into the Caribbean, right into the Gulf and the Eastern Pacific. So I think we could see a more intense period coming through, of course, as we go through the end of July and the beginning of August. And that's usually when we get a spike anyway. And you can see here that Global Tropics agrees with me, everyone, that as you go through July 9th through the middle of July, there's a lot of below average precipitation coming through. There's no formation coming through. And if any development, it'll be far into the Eastern Pacific, where it's going to be a 20% chance. Then as we go all the way towards the 22nd of July, more below average precipitation coming through because of unfavorable environment with this dust as well. It will be back to late July into August before we start talking about any kind of strong formations coming off the MDR or into the Atlantic. So thank you so much for your time, everybody. I really appreciate every single one of y'all. Hope this video helps you understand what is coming around the corner, what the potentials are, and what actually is happening over here across the Southeast and the Mid-Atlantic in the coming days. If this has helped you, please think about helping others. Hit that share button down below, hit another platform and send it off to them. Let them see it as well. Thank you again for your help. Remember, you can always follow me on other platform links in the description of all my videos. I do go to the other platforms daily. That way you'll see new information there as well. Before I go, a quick word from our Father, everyone. 1 Timothy 4:12. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. Amen. Thank you again for your time. And remember, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everyone.